us to the closing remarks of what's been a long and busy day, and thank you for your forbearance in those of you who participated throughout last night and through today. As I said earlier, we are honoured, in fact, that Dr. Ken Henry has seen fit, with his colleagues from the Secretariat, to not only come and speak with us, but to actually spend the day listening to us and taking, I think, copious notes, Ken. This is different to the last summit and the summits we've run before, in that while we've had equally wonderful discussions and diverse groups of people, I don't think we've ever had a situation where government is actually sitting in the room with us writing the policy in real time that's going to become a major national statement in just a few months from now. That is really about a new form of interactive and real-time governance. For closing remarks, would you please welcome Dr. Ken Henry. Ken.
Well, is this on? Yeah. Right, thank you very much. And thank you very much to all of you. This was an unusual experience for me. I'm sure it was an unusual experience for you. The level of engagement has been terrific, wonderful ideas, and a lot of themes that came through in today's discussion are themes that have been put to us in various ways in our consultations, but I thought, actually, when I looked at the agenda this morning and the number of speakers, that it was going to be absolutely impossible to try to synthesise what I'd heard. But, you know, the funny thing is, in many ways it was clearer today than it has been in other consultations. And I think that's actually because people kept coming back to what are really the core issues here. I heard the word opportunity expressed more times today than I've heard it previously in all of our consultations. But there was a but. I heard the expression window of opportunity used as well. And there's a sense in our work, and we're very conscious of this, that there is something that motivates this project. And it's not that Australia finds itself standing on a burning platform. We have been there in the past. That's not what it feels like now. But rather, what it is that motivates this project and what it is that will motivate the changes that have to occur in Australia if we're to make the most of the Asian century, is that we have a wonderful opportunity at the moment, but we should not anticipate that that opportunity will always be available to us. There is a window of opportunity that's open. There's a window of opportunity that will close, and it could close very quickly. We don't know. We have to be prepared. Opportunity I heard a lot of. And I was thinking today as I was listening to the conversation about dimensions of engagement between Australia and other countries in the Asian region. And today I think we covered all of the dimensions of engagement that have been central to our thinking in preparing the white paper, the business commercial dimension of engagement, the government to government. Very importantly, and some of you I know would have this right at the top of the list, indeed the top of any list, is cultural engagement, right across various levels or various dimensions of cultural engagement. And then, of course, a lot of people spoke about education. And in all of that engagement, people emphasise the importance of people to people. I mentioned it at the start, but I didn't mention it at the start because this was some amazing new idea I had. This is the very first session that we sat down with to consult with people about the issues in the terms of reference that we have for the construction of the white paper. That very first session, some months ago now, what struck me then was the importance that people attach to people relationships, and it came through very clearly again today. You spoke about symbolism, the importance of symbolism. I was struck by that. You spoke about the importance of collaboration, of cooperation, of partnership, and very importantly, that in strong, the point was made that in strong people-to-people relationships, there is a matching of capabilities, and the task for us is to think about how best to match our capabilities with others in the region. I was struck by that. We have in the Taskforce been asking ourselves the question, to what extent does engagement mean integration? First time we asked this question, we asked it in the abstract, we thought it was a very challenging question. After today's discussion, none of you would even bother asking a question like that. It's very obvious to you, and the answer I would take, the way I would frame it is that if we do find some years down the track, if we do conclude some years down the track that Australia has made a great deal of the opportunities that presently confront us, we will also find that we are integrated with the region. In fact, one of the speakers, I'm not going to name anybody in this short overview, but one of the speakers put it very prosaically, simply said, it's about integration. It's as simple as that. Connectedness is also a term that cropped up through, or interconnectedness is a term that cropped up through today's discussion. And in particular, people emphasise the role that's being played by information and communications technologies. And those technologies are contributing to the development of a global mindset, another phrase that was used, through the digital economy in particular. But I think it was very instructive that people also wanted to emphasise the importance of travel in connectedness, that it's not all about digital connectedness at all, as important as that is, and the global dimension that gives to all of our lives, but many of you emphasise the importance of travel, the importance of going out and listening and understanding, and you made the point that it's the listening and the understanding that is the source of strong people-to-people links, and that struck me. Now, just two other things. I don't want to take too much time on this, although all of this is important, I think. Firstly, many speakers referred to quite substantial challenges that countries in Asia are grappling with at the moment, and some of these challenges are going to become much more acute over the next 10 to 20 years, which is pretty much the time horizon that we've got in our thinking. You referred, many of you, to population ageing. You referred to the process that is in Asian countries, and it's especially notable. It has been for some time in Japan, Korea as well, of course, but China is getting close to a rather significant point in the age structure of its population. So population ageing referred to the continuing process of urbanisation, the process of a continuing process of industrialisation, which may, of course, indeed is changing shape, certainly in China, but nevertheless a continuing process of industrialisation and generally a process of modernisation. And these developments are taking place against the background of increasingly acute environmental challenges, which are raising significant issues for development in China in particular, but not only China, certainly in India as well. And some of these environmental challenges have a truly global dimension, and it was good to have the concentration on the climate change issue here today. I was pleased to see that, and some of the perspectives were really interesting. The contribution that Australia can make to the realisation of the green growth strategy in China, and having been in China just last week and having met with several senior people there and having made sure that the night before I did, I read the 12th five-year plan from front cover to back cover. You cannot help but be struck by the seriousness with which the green growth agenda permeates government in China. Not just government. I met with a very senior person from the Chinese military, and he got it as well. It permeates thinking in China, and it's clear, and a number of you made the point, that in that there is an opportunity for Australia. But one can go well beyond, and you did today, go well beyond green growth, thinking about the energy security issues and the contributions that Australians can make there in urban design, in health and medical sciences, in water, in food security, and so on. That is, that in the challenges that are confronting a number of countries in the region, there are opportunities for Australia. There are commercial opportunities, but there are also opportunities for Australians to develop strong people-to-people links, to engage in collaborative research, in science partnerships, and so on, indeed to build friends in the region. But then, the point was also made that we have a set of challenges ourselves. We just had a session on governance, and I thought most of the speakers were incredibly polite. That would be my take on it. Let's not kid ourselves, we do have governance issues. Secondly, at least one of the speakers referred to the pressures on Australia's manufacturing sector. Indeed, there are pressures on all trade-exposed activity in Australia at the moment because principally of the strength of the Australian dollar. Those pressures are likely to be with us for a considerable period of time. These are pressures that have to be handled very carefully in public debate, and people have to think creatively about how these issues should be dealt with in policy terms as well. And then there are quite fundamental challenges in Australia. And Michael Jeffrey referred to one or two or three of them. And you might have detected that there was a sense of urgency in what Michael was saying. And I certainly get it. And I think it's a shame more people don't get it. But there should be a sense of urgency in thinking about the issues that Michael's raised. If it really is the case that Australia can aspire to be a major supplier of food into Asia, and the opportunity is certainly immense, and I don't know whether the goal of feeding 200 million people is a sensible goal or not, but I tell you what, if we don't do something about the quality of our soils, and we don't do something about the way that we manage water in this country, we have absolutely no show. And there is therefore a big task for us in addressing challenges in Australia if we're going to make the most of the Asian century. And so I'd leave you with these questions, and they go to the framework that I put on the screen this morning. Do you think we have the capabilities that we need to apply our endowments to the opportunities of the Asian century? Do we? And where are our strengths in capability, and where are the gaps? And then the second question is this, and it's one that we don't often ask ourselves, and it's a more fundamental one, and that is, are the endowments themselves secure? Mm-hmm. Quality of our soils, water, climate, and so on, as those endowments themselves that we take for granted and have taken for granted through all of our period, 200-odd year period of development as an economy in the world, are those endowments themselves secure?
Well, join me in thanking Dr. Ken Henry for that most comprehensive response.